Hey guys, it's Jake Storielli, and I'm coming from myself today. No silly voice. Two things I love: baseball, the ladies. I'm good at neither, to be honest, but when the United States entered World War II, every able-bodied man was expected to volunteer for the war effort. Some of the most renowned names in baseball history volunteered. Ted Williams, Stan the Man Musial, Joe DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper, all served. During these years, the MLB suffered a serious loss of talent. In response, the ladies stepped up to the plate to fill the void in professional baseball, and the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League was founded. This league produced stars like Dorothy Kamencheck, who have had a lasting impact on women's sports. Again, I'm Jake Storielli today, and this is Laughs from the Past.
Welcome to Laughs from the Past, Season 6, Episode 8? 9? 20? No idea. We hope you had a great Christmas. We hope you had a great New Year's. We're sorry that we were without you for 2 weeks, but the holidays demanded it. We are back. We're ready. We're going to talk some baseball, historical stories. Producer Luke O'Brien, Jared Gott, Sam Deutsch. This episode is written by Joe Webster. We thank them for piecing it together. A story that I think everyone kind of knows about from a movie. And it's funny when we all have the same history, like we've all seen A League of Their Own. So yeah, we all know this story, but is that accurate? I have no idea. Was Tom Hanks' character one of the best in movie history? Yeah, up there. Coach Dugan? Love it. How much do you know about this? Does your knowledge just strictly stem from A League of Their Own?
Yeah, this is pretty timely with the Golden Globes, huh? With Tom Hanks giving the big speech. We had some good women empowerment stuff with Ellen there and everything. What do I know? I know nothing, Jim. That's my stance on almost everything. But no, I mean, you were on the nose. I mean, I know that it's crazy from the baseball aspect. Some of these all-time great baseball players that went to war in their prime. Ted Williams being an incredible fighter pilot, I feel is something I reference an odd amount in my day-to-day life, just because it's kind of that old school thing. Like, you meet these guys that are, oh yeah, well, I was a war veteran and then I was a heart doctor for 60 years. And you're like, what? I've done nothing. Ted Williams was one of the best baseball players ever, a war hero, an incredible fighter pilot. And then, yeah, on the other side, I'm interested from the aspect of, I think entertainment is important, / because I think that's something I can do. I can't play baseball. I can't fight in wars. But what I can do is I can entertain you for a little bit. So I'm interested to see kind of what was going on stateside, and did people actually buy into this? And there's so many different things going on at the time that, I don't know, like women's sports are still in a struggle. They're in a constant fight to get attention and be popular. So how popular was it? Did the towns actually get behind this, or were there guys at the local diner or local brewery or whoever it was kind of shit-talking them? I don't know.
Was the stadium full of creeps, or was it a family event?
Ooh, there's always the creeps.
They made
there's
them
girls there, the guys are going to follow.
They made them wear skirts and not pants. I'm sure we're going to get into all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty curious. I don't even know how long the league lasted. I know there's a Hall of Fame. It's good. And I know Jimmy Dugan's the best character.
Skirts, not pants, ages pretty poorly, huh?
I think at the time, the girls were not happy about it. These were all,
right.
So let's see. Let's get into the story. Look at this fucking acronym to start it off. The AAGPBL. Is that sincerely what they called the league? They could not.
Yeah, I mean, you screwed up from the start.
The
You screwed
AAGPBL,
up.
the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. That's a guess. I had to have nailed that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what else you could think it was.
Oh,
it was in the title.
You said it
of
in the title.
episode.
Yeah, you said it in the title. I don't listen to your titles, so.
I didn't say the title. I think you talked about that.
Well, the All-American Girls Professional, like saying women, not girls, bam.
Yeah, and I mean, even the fact that you have to say women or girls is a problem. And, I mean, opening up All-American, I mean, that's almost worse.
It's a terrible acronym. The AAGPBL began play in 1943 and lasted a dozen years and gave more than 500 women an opportunity that had never existed before. The
What should it have been? Should it have been WMLB, WPBL? I don't know.
Women's Major League, WNBA is Women's National Basketball Association, so WMLB, Women's Major League Baseball? Sure.
I guess so, right?
It's easier.
Okay. If we reference it and we need to say the league's name, maybe we'll say that instead.
You don't want to say AAGPBL?
Well, now I see how excited you are about it, so we're
well,
going with that. Continue.
the AAGPBL, AGBL for short, was the brainchild of Chicago Cubs owner Philip K. Wrigley
What's that?
as a way to keep the ballparks busy during World War II if manpower shortages threatened big league baseball. Could have just held a bunch of concerts nonstop, Wrigley. But I appreciate you. So, Wrigley and his staff feared that Major League Baseball might temporarily cease due to the war because of loss of talent, as well as restrictions on team travel due to gasoline rationing. Publicly, Wrigley stated that the need for additional recreation in towns busy with wall defense prompted the idea. The new league's first tryouts were scheduled for Chicago in spring of 1943 and drew almost 300 women from across the United States and Canada. That seems a terribly small number.
Let's see.
For its day, it's probably not a small number, but I mean, nowadays, if you were host open tryouts, I think you'd get like every women's college player or whatever going. 300 people.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make a league, Jake, not just one team. A league.
Well, it's spreading the information and it's the people available, and this is kind of why I mentioned it before, but with Ellen DeGeneres. But I mean, picture being a woman in the 40s and saying, "Hey, I'm going to drop what I'm doing and play pro baseball." Like that took some cajones.
Well, that's sexist.
Or the opposite of cajones.
Yeah, the opposite. Yes. Okay, where the hell was I? No idea where I am on this sheet. I moved it around on my computer screen, and now I'm all out of whack. Okay.
I mean, if you get out of that 300, if you can get 100 that can actually play, I mean, what? You could get 5 baseball teams, 6 if you stretch it.
Maybe that's what happened.
Let's see.
On May 30th, 1943, the league played its first games. The league was initially Women's Professional Softball League called the All-American Girls Softball League.
Of course.
Though the rules were modified midway through the first season and the league became the All-American Girls Baseball League, later to be known as the AAGPBL. As many times as we can say that, I'm in. So, the first season, 4 Midwest teams, the Rockford Peaches, the South Bend Blue Sox, the Racine Bells, and the Kenosha Comets would play a 108-game schedule. So that's all Chicago. I think that all the games were played in Wrigley Field. But in the movie, they're riding the bus around.
Not for nothing. Well, I wonder if we find something out. 108 games, man, they went in. This wasn't a dip the toe and like, hey, let's try a 24-game season and see if this works. No, we're playing a $108.
Yeah, that is nuts. Those are all, where's Rockford? South Bend is Chicago. It was in Kenosha, Illinois. So I wonder if how many.
South Bend is Indiana.
Oh, yes. Very close.
Kenosha and Racine are Wisconsin, right?
Kenosha's Wisconsin. I'm all off. Where's Rockford?
Yeah. No idea.
So did Wrigley... How many teams played out of Wrigley? Just they had one team, I guess? Which team would you like to play for the most? The Peaches?
Are we doing OG4 or are we going to include the next teams coming?
All right, I'll include the next teams. The AAGPBL at times also included the Fort Wayne Daisies, the Minneapolis Millerettes, Kalamazoo Lassies, Muskegon Lassies. What? That's illegal. Muskegon. They must have moved to have the same name. Battle Creek Bells, the Grand Rapid Chicks, the Peoria Red Wings, Milwaukee Chicks, and the Chicago Colleens.
Oh, no.
And the Springfield Sallies. Oh, okay. Well, Springfield Sallies is my early favorite team name.
Yeah, that's bottom of the list for me.
I can't believe that the Milwaukee Chicks was allowed.
Yeah, I'm leaning Milwaukee Chicks because that kind of feels tough, feels a little Milwaukee. I like that. I was also liking Kalamazoo Lassies just because there's a lot of fun letters in there. But the Muskegon team also going the Lassies ruins the Lassies.
I think they must have moved from Kalamazoo to Muskegon.
I don't think so. I think they just went, just like Central Connecticut is the Blue Devils, Duke are the Blue Devils.
Yeah, but I don't know, because it's still the same league. Let's see. Muskegon.
You're not Googling if the Kalamazoo Laskies used to be the Muskegon Lassies, are you?
Yes, I am. They played on Marsh Field. And they won the pennant race versus the Grand Rapids Chicks. Yeah, it didn't. Oh, where the team renamed the Kalamazoo Lassies. Yeah, it had to be a rename. Can't have the two of the same team name in the league.
Well, we got the Grand Rapids Chicks and we got the Milwaukee Chicks. You think they were the same team?
Yes, they moved as well.
I'm not buying it.
What it says right here. In 1950...
The Grand Rapids Chicks became the Milwaukee Chicks?
No, well, that's when Muskegon changed. 1950 became a nightmare for Muskegon after registering the worst record in the league and a relocation during the middle of the season to Kalamazoo, where they were renamed.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
This season's going bad. We got to get out of here.
The franchise originated in 1944 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as the Milwaukee Chicks. Although the Chicks won, they could not compete with the minor league Milwaukee Brewers for ticket sales, and the franchise moved to Grand Rapids. Yeah, so those are just relocation teams.
Okay, so that is good. Do we have competing... So we do have competing men's baseball with the women's baseball.
Well, yeah, and the MLB never stopped.
Right, but I don't know. It's still just it's still an interesting logic that they were like, hey, we're not going to have the top males because a lot of them are going to World War, so the top females are now going to put out a better product. I guess that's the thought process. I don't know.
No, at the beginning it says Wrigley thought that there would be a stoppage of male baseball, so he did this as a precaution.
So he was planning for the stop. Okay,
yes.
So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Well, you just got to listen to the first paragraph.
Right, but no, that's different.
I think Chicks is the worst name because it's derogatory.
Really?
Well, Chicks is females don't like being referred to as chicks. It's derogatory.
I think if we're talking down to them, like, hey, you chicks, but I think that you can also use that as like a powerful like rallying thing. Like, we're badass chicks.
Yeah, I think when they take ownership of it, it's cool. But when they're called it from men,
oh, so now you can speak for women. Okay, Jimmy O'Brien speaking for women. Wow.
Yes. I like the Minneapolis Millerettes.
Some fun there. You're an alliteration guy always.
Yeah. And I like the peaches just because of the movie. So boom.
Right.
Now I like all of them. All right, let's see. If we scroll down on the next page, there's literally a timeline, and we could have just checked that Milwaukee moved to Grand Rapids.
Literally the perfect chart for our whole conversation was 2 inches away. We didn't get there.
So Rockford Peaches and the South Bend Blue Sox lasted the entire duration of the league.
From 43 to 55.
And so the first year, they only had 4 teams, Jake. So of those 300 girls, they only could make 4 teams.
So they made 4 teams, and they were planning on playing in a 108-game schedule. You got the scouting reports down.
Damn. And then there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams for one season. Look at that, Chicago and Springfield.
108 divided by 3, the original schedule, is 36 games versus each team.
That's good. You really learn your opponents. Man, if you're a lot
better than one team,
yeah.
Damn.
If it's an uneven league, that blows. They had to make a lot of trades to try and level that off.
People love a dynasty.
Well, I like how Chicago and Springfield, they got into the league in 1948 and then quickly got out. No, thank you. Yeah. This sucks.
What was that? An 8-team season?
No, I think 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10. For 1 year, it was 10 teams.
Season. Didn't work, Jim. It didn't work.
No, they sucked. In the first season, the league played a game that was a hybrid of baseball and softball. The ball was 12 inches in circumference, the size of a regulation softball. Not in Illinois. They play 16-inch. The pitcher's mound was only 40 feet from home plate, closer even than in regulation softball, and much closer than baseball, which is 60 feet 6 inches. Pitchers threw underhand windmill, like in softball, and the distance between the bases was 65 feet, 5 feet longer than in softball, but 25 feet shorter than baseball. Wow, we're all over the place here. All over the place. Was softball not standard? Because if softball is standard at this time, which I think it was, why not just do that? Why so many differences?
I mean, they overthought it. They just read that paragraph a couple times and tell me they didn't overthink it.
That's crazy. Major similarities between the AAGPBL and baseball included 9-player teams and the use of a pitcher's mound. Softball pitchers threw from flat ground. That's crazy. So they're just mixing everything. Do softball or do baseball.
They Frankensteined it.
It's nuts. By 1948, the ball had shrunk to 10 inches, 10.375 inches. So we went from 12 to 10. Overhand pitching was allowed, not mandatory, just allowed. And the mound was moved back to 50 feet.
Well, you can throw harder underhand, technically.
As time went on, the rules continued to gradually approach those of baseball. By the final season in 1954, the ball was regulation baseball size, the mound was moved back to 60 feet, and the base paths were extended to 85 feet, still 5 feet shorter than MLB. I knew none of that. So at the top of the show, I said all of our history from this stems from a league of their own, and in a league of their own, at tryouts, they say, this ain't softball, it's baseball. But in real life, they had no idea. I mean, are we saying that until the last season, so in the heyday of this league, there were pitchers throwing underhand and some throwing overhand? It was whatever you felt like? That's kind of cool, in my opinion. If you can throw equal speeds, underhand and overhand, to be able to, the 0-1 is underhand, the 1-1 is overhand. What are you going to get?
Oh, people definitely used it as a weapon. And yeah, I think the next Next paragraph is talking about how they snuck towards baseball every year, it sounds like.
Yeah, by the end, they were playing baseball. Salaries were above average for women and ranged from $45 to $85. In 2018, that's $652 to $1,231 a week. That's pretty good.
Take that, yeah.
During a week, $700 a week, $2,800 a month. That's good money.
Yeah.
Congrats. The Women's League generally went along with the men's late spring to early autumn. Did they share the fields? Were they changing these fields in and out? Did they bring in the fences? Because the whole idea...
I think we got different fields because of the different towns.
Yeah, but like Wrigley's whole idea was he wanted to fill his stadium. So I guess...
Right, but we only have a Chicago team for one season, the 10-year season. Otherwise, these are separate. That's why the first part you told me to listen, it's actually complicated because they made this league because they didn't think they could still play baseball. They still play baseball, but they still ran with the league.
Was the brainchild of Chicago Cubs owner Philip K. Wrigley as a way to keep the ballparks busy during World War II if manpower shortages threatened big league baseball. So maybe we're talking about minor league ballparks when they say that. And the minor league system definitely lost a lot of teams, so there were empty minor league parks, and they filled those with this. Maybe.
Makes sense.
That makes more sense.
Younger guys, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Former big league players such as Hall of Famer Jimmy Fox, Johnny Rawlings, Bert Niehoff, Josh Billings, Leo Murphy, Bill Wamgans, and Dave Bancroft served as managers in the league, while Hall of Famer Max Carey was its president.
Oh.
Femininity is the keynote of our league. No pants-wearing, tough-talking female softballer will ever play on any of our 4 teams, Max Carey said. That's kind of an issue.
That doesn't age well, right?
No, that's why I had to say it in an accent, so no one can clip it and be like, Jimmy,
right.
It's racist. Well, nope, sexist.
Well, we've got a classic new league tactic that you bring in Hall of Famers or legends from another sport, the XFL. You're hiring famous coaches and bringing in some guys. So they did that. I'm also thinking a couple of those coaches, Hall of Famers, were creepy. But yeah, I mean, it's a prototypical how to start a league.
Every day after practice, Mr. Wrigley sent us to Helena Rubinstein's charm school to learn how to put on makeup, how to put on a coat, and how to get in and out of a car or chair, said Lil Jackson. Back at the hotel, he made us wear skirts. If you dressed in slacks, you had to use the servants' elevator. Damn.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
Not good.
I mean, I would, like, some of them maybe were like, I'd love to go to charm school. I'm a slob.
Right.
But, being forced to.
You would do very badly in charm school.
Me?
I need you to know that. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But some people may have been interested in learning the finer ways of life.
Sure, some people still are.
Yeah. Would you want to go to charm school for a week, see what it's all about?
No, we'd both be awful.
Yeah. The uniforms worn by the female ball players consisted of a belted, short-sleeved tunic dress with a slight flare of the skirt. Like, to me, just say skirt. I don't know what all those other things mean.
Oh, man. I heard some clothing word the other day that you hear all the time, but I was like, no idea what it meant. My girlfriend said it so casually. She's like, yeah, just get a blank shirt. And I was like, this isn't me playing dumb. This isn't me acting dumb. I don't know what that means, and I know I should.
It's me being dumb.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're absolutely right.
Short-sleeved tunic dress with a slight flare.
Tunic. I don't know what tunic means.
Okay, let's look it up. A tunic is...
Tunic dress.
It just says a garment. A garment for the body, usually simple in style. Dude, it's like literally anything. Look at the
dress.
Look at the Google images for tunic. It's like any long shirt. It can not have sleeves. It can have full sleeves. It can be a turtleneck. It can be a V-cut. Go fuck yourself.
Okay,
tunic.
so I mean, I think the word that I know tunic from is like the Islamic culture, but what they're showing me is like you're saying every style dress. So what's tunic mean?
Even a long shirt.
The definition is a loose garment, typically sleeveless, reaching to the wearer's knees.
Yeah, a lot of the ones on
So
Google
we have to
image-
get to at least the knees?
Yeah, a lot of the Google images don't have... they're not a dress. They're just a long shirt that goes to the knees.
Okay.
It's pretty dumb.
And the next line is rules stated that they were to be worn no more than 6 inches above the knee. So tunic is just another word for dress.
Or long shirt. Makes no sense. Hate it. Yo, Jim Gaffigan has a stand-up special on Amazon. He had a really funny joke. He was like, I get nervous whenever I see someone be outed as a dumb person. Because, like, I might be next. Oh,
Yeah.
They're coming for us dummies. That's the good line. Okay. The uniforms worn by the female balls players consisted of all that bullshit, rules stated that the skirts were to be worn no more than 6 inches above the knee, but the regulation was most often ignored in order to facilitate running and fielding. So they wore them higher because they're like, yo, we got to run and field.
Right, got to be athletic.
I'm going to Google some images of the AAGPBL. And yeah, they're not that high. I mean, if you have it longer than the knee, you can't run. So they need to be above the knee, but they're not crazy.
Promiscuous.
Yeah, they're not promiscuous. A circular team logo was sewn on the front of each dress, and baseball caps featured elastic bands in the back so that they were one size fits all. It's cool. The uniforms are pretty boring, man. Like, I know it's the 40s, but they're all wearing the same dress, different colors, and it's just a patch. Like, come on, give some stripes, give them some designs. Should have been a pinstriped team.
Pinstripes are fair, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, here we go. In an effort to make each player as physically attractive as possible, each received a beauty kit and instructions on how to use it. As part of the league's rules of conduct, the girls were not permitted to have short hair. They could not smoke or drink in public places, and they were required to wear lipstick at all times. Fines for not following the league's rules of conduct were $5 for the first offense, $10 for the second, and suspension for the third. In 1944, Josephine JoJo D'Angelo, it's a good say that name out loud, Jake. Great rhythm to it.
Well, I think you either say Josephine or JoJo.
Say JoJo D'Angelo.
JoJo D'Angelo. It's a great name.
It's a great name. Well,
Josephine JoJo D'Angelo is a lot.
Yeah. Just JoJo D'Angelo. Great name.
Name.
Yeah. She was fired for cutting her hair short. The women's contracts were much stricter about behavior than in the men's league, and each team was also assigned its own chaperone by the league. That guy if that was a male, creep.
Ooh, assigned its own chaperone. Yeah, I'd want to look more into the chaperone. Was it a creep? Was it a controlling person? Like that dictated. Like a player's like, oh, I really want to join Muskegon. They have a great chaperone.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking?
What are you thinking?
Some of that stuff should be implemented for the MLB right now. If I make it to the big leagues and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we got grooming standards and you're going to go hang out with the guy from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and he's going to tell you exactly which beard cut and hair length makes you look the best, and that's how you present yourself, I think a lot of MLB players would be like, okay, oh, do we really have to do this? And they're like, okay, what is it? What should I put in my beard?
It's an interesting concept because you're right, but also like James Harden and his beard, Bryce Harper and his facial hair, like guys can use it as an identifiable thing, where if they just said no beards, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think it's interesting relating this to modern days that, like, you know, teams do have dress codes and things like that. And I think it's obviously different. This is 1940s and we're telling women to look pretty, but we still have similar type stuff that goes on. And yeah, imagine if they did this. Babe Ruth might not have played baseball if this was a thing.
Yeah, right? Like the Babe Ruth was a grosso.
Yeah, there's no way he's doing any of this.
That's pretty wild. Like, what if these girls were like, you know what Babe Ruth looks like, right?
Right.
But I'm not allowed to have short hair.
Babe Ruth would have pitched 3 games, been suspended, never played baseball again. We would have never known the name.
Yeah. But it would be cool if you got to a team. Maybe they didn't. Okay, it doesn't have to be a must, but MLB could really improve their marketing if they like told guys like, hey, we want you to look as best as you can. You'll get more attention from the audience. Pretty boys.
Yeah, there's something to that, but I like Dallas Keuchel. It's his signature, the kind of.
But he's got the most groomed beard in the league. That's part of what I'm saying.
That whole Red Sox team kind of was living off being grossos and chicken and beer and stuff like that, and that's how they're remembered. But yeah, I don't hate the concept.
Yeah. Well, though femininity was stressed as part of their uniforms and conduct, many feel the AAGBBL lasted for more than a decade as it relied on players' skills to draw fans to the ballpark. Dorothy Kamencheck, is that how you say it?
Dorothy Kamencheck. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say let's give her a nickname or something, but no, we can say Dorothy or Kamencheck pretty easily.
the second half of the pod is about her. She told Marquette Magazine that in the beginning they were only getting 500 people in the stands, and then it got up to 10,000, which is good for a town that supports minor league baseball. Eventually, we won them over. At first, they just came to see the skirts, and then we showed them we could play. That's cool. Good for you, Dorothy.
Isn't that full circle, Jim? People like watching baseball be played. You don't. It's something we wrestle in the day-to-day of baseball now, that it's like, hey, sell baseball to baseball people because they still love it.
Per Kameshek's quote, attendance did rise steadily during the early years of the league, topping out at around 1 million fans in 1948. For reference, the Miami Marlins had 811,000 in attendance in 2019. Dodgers had the highest with 3.9 million in 2019. Little different because you can just watch the games on TV, and you couldn't for this, but cool. They had a lot of fans. We have some glamapusses. What? Okay. We have some glamapusses, but most of us are just white-collar girls who stopped wearing collars, said one unnamed young lady. Me, I'm strictly the fresh, wholesome type. If the customers were interested in legs instead of arms, you'd never see me in the lineup. So she's a big girl, I'm guessing.
No, I think they were just conscious of. They were conscious of creeps. Like this person was asking them, are people only coming to see ladies with their legs out? And she was like, no, fuck that.
I think she's saying, not everyone in the league is a pinup, beautiful person. We have some glamapusses, but most of us are just white-collar girls who stopped wearing collars. I'm strictly the fresh, wholesome type. If customers were interested in legs instead of arms, you'd never see me in the lineup. She's saying, I'm not pretty, I'm good at baseball.
No, she's saying if there was only people to see there to be creepy and not see her play baseball, she wouldn't play.
Because she's not attractive.
No, she never says that. You're putting that in.
I'm strictly the fresh, wholesome type. If customers were interested in legs instead of arms, you'd never see me in the lineup.
Correct. If the crowd was there to see her legs and be creepy, she wouldn't want to be on the field. But she wants them to see her arm and how good she is at baseball.
I don't think it's that way being said. I think she's saying like, yeah, we have some attractive girls in the audience, but we also have people that are their skills are better than their looks. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I don't think she's putting down her looks at all.
Well, the Cubs manager in 1940s, Charlie Grimm, said of the Kenosha shortstop Dottie Schroeder, I'd pay $50,000 for her if she were a boy.
She could play.
Eventually, at the end of World War II and the rise of televised Major League games led to the end of the AAGPBL after the 1954 season. Bummer. I mean, it seems like they were constantly messing with the rules.
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the AAGPBL.
Yeah. Video. Think they want to see the women play. Eventually, so I mean, that's it. It ends. So can we get some like, who was the best team? All-time roster. Don't want that.
Ooh, the best. Who's the best AAGPBL team of all time?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, league champions. Okay. So the Racine Bells won in 1943. Then the Milwaukee Chicks. Then the Rockford Peaches. Then the Racine Bells take it back. Then the Chicks win again. Then the Peaches three-peat, 48, 49, 50. The South Bend Blue Sox finally get involved. The Chicks come storming back again, and then those Lassies win. Nice.
And, I mean, this sounds like a corny, like every guy would say this just to deflect, like, because it's 2020 and you could get in trouble. But, like, how cool is this for, like, women empowerment? If you were a young girl and you looked back and you're like, hey, what was grandma involved in? And you're like, she won with the freaking Racine team in 1944. Like, I'd be beating people up and I'd be taking the world by storm.
You would?
I would. The story about my grandpa was he carried a sack of potatoes through the town of Derby on a bet.
That's cool.
That's kind of my legacy.
What was the bet?
Right? It was like $1 or some shit. I don't know. It wasn't impressive, but.
No, like what did they bet?
Like they bet him $1 he couldn't carry a sack of potatoes across Derby.
Oh, I thought it was something like I thought it was like a sports bet he lost or something.
No.
Just straight up, it was basically a dare. I'll pay you $1 if you carry that potatoes. That does speak more to you.
Yep.
I was looking at the Springfield Sallies because they were only in the league for 1 year. They just got fucking stomped on, man. They were the worst team in the league. They had a 41-84 record. They were 35.5 games behind their division leader. They had no all-stars.
Think they had one or two good players on that team that were in like Cuba mode, that every city they went to, they were just like, hey, you got any girls that are trying to get off the team or something? Because I can't do this.
Yeah, they had Evelyn Wauschrin, 6th place in batting average that year, and Doris Barr, who had a 2.68 ERA. Oh, the Sallies joined the Chicago Colleens, and they toured as development teams. So they kind of became like minor league teams to get other people to sign up, and they played at Yankee Stadium.
About that.
The Springfield Sallies have a happy ending. All right. We're going to pivot to Dorothy Kamencheck, who I guess is like the Dottie Hinson of League of Their Own. Yeah. This is their version. The 1922 film, A League of Their Own, was a largely fictional account of the AAGPBL, which brought a little talked-of league into the forefront of the public eye. And while the film's story was fiction, the main character, Dottie Hinson, was based on real-life slugger Dorothy Kamencheck. Dorothy was born in 1925 in Norwood, Ohio. As a teenager, she played outfield for the Cincinnati softball team, throwing and batting lefty. Her softball team won national titles in 1940, 1941, and 1942. At the age of 17, she was spotted by a scout from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, also known as the AAGPBL. After tryouts at Wrigley Field in Chicago, she joined the Rockford Peaches as an outfielder when the league began in 1943, though eventually stepped into a permanent role at first base. A true fan favorite, she was known as the face of the Rockford Peaches for a decade and won 4 league championship titles with them. Dorothy was selected as an all-star all 7 times the league established such a team. In 1946, she won a batting title with a batting average of .316, a single point ahead of Audrey Wagner. Suck on that, Audrey. And won the distinction again in 1947, going back-to-back with an average of .306. Throughout her career, she struck out only 81 times in 3,736 at-bats. And then we have a link to her stats, so I'm going to click that. You a fan of Dorothy up until this point?
Huge fan. I was interested. I ended up on her Wikipedia because it said her softball team won the national titles in 40, 41, and 42, which leads us up to the age of 17, which I'm trying to find out how, like, was it the high school national titles? How did they figure that out? So I got lost in that.
It was probably the high school championship, is what I would guess. And then,
but they had a national high school championship?
Sure.
That's
the Little League World Series was around then. So that was like, all states played and stuff.
Right. So is it the Women's Little League World Series? This is the question I'm asking.
I think it was, my guess would be it's the high school national championship.
Okay. That would be a cool thing if they did that.
Why wouldn't they have done that?
They don't do it now.
They don't? They just do state championships?
High school national championships?
I guess they don't. But they did.
That's what I'm saying.
Softball national championship, 1941. Was it? I mean, it couldn't have been college because she was a teenager.
Right.
Oh, here it is. Hold on. 1941 ASA softball. But this is men's league softball. But in 1941, they had men's leagues softball championships. So maybe it was just straight up like women's town league.
Yeah, I guess it's something like that. I think the ASA is still around, or now it's like USA softball. But yeah, I guess that makes sense.
That's crazy. Well, I'm looking at her stats here.
Right.
And I found out something awesome. Her nickname was Cammy. So we can just call her Cammy.
Cammy. That's what I was wondering.
That's great news for us. I was dodging her last name. Wow, she got...
Cammy's a good baseball nickname.
So she won the batting title in 46 with a .316 batting average, and then won it again in 47 with a .306 batting average. In 1951, she had a .345 batting average.
It's a hell of a year.
1946 1987, she had 6 home runs. What's that about?
I don't know. Led Rockford to 4 titles.
6 home runs. 8 doubles. Big year. She was slugging like a crazy person. All right. Well, considered one of the best athletes of her time, Southpaw Cammie was even recruited for men's baseball by a team from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Though she believed the team only wanted her for publicity and turned down the offer. You get him, Cammie. Former New York Yankee Wally Pipp was so impressed with her that he stated she was the most accomplished player he had ever seen among men or women. Now, how many times did Wally Pipp see her play? Because you had to watch her in person. He's playing full time.
Right.
No, he's old now at this point. He's probably retired in the 40s because he played in the 20s. So was Wally Pipp?
So impressed.
Wally Pipp was a big AAPBGBLEBL fan.
The guy, he had to follow something.
Yeah. Well, most accomplished player he had ever seen. Cammie never considered herself the best player in the league. She said, "Other people did. I just went out and played every game to the best of my ability." Oh, shut up, Cammie.
Yep.
She knew it. In the off seasons, Cammie studied physical education and health education at the University of Cincinnati. In 1951, she was forced to reduce her playing due to back injuries, and after the 1952 season, she retired permanently from the game with a career average of .292. Nice.
She could hit.
In 1958, Cammie received a degree in physical therapy from Marquette University in Milwaukee. She returned to Ohio to serve as a physical therapist in Hamilton County and later moved to LA to perform the same work at the Los Angeles Crippled Children's Services Department. Damn. In 1964, she was promoted to supervisor of physical and occupational therapy, later chief of therapy services, position she held. Okay, so she did a lot of that work. After retirement, she was honored with an award. She's on permanent display at the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum at Cooperstown, which opened in 1988 and is dedicated to the entire league rather than an individual player. In 1999, Sports Illustrated for Women selected Cammie as the 100th greatest female athlete of the 20th century. The 100th?
That's tough. That's a tough break.
The fuck?
That's a tough break.
Did Cammie dirty there.
A little bit.
Who do you think in 19...
I mean, arguably the best... Think about that. Arguably the best women's baseball player ever. And coming in at the hundo spot. They just use that... When you're doing a top 100 list, you go 100 down. So they wanted to use her as the pop. Like, she's probably... I don't know. She's probably 48. But they were like, hey, let's put her at 100 because that's how we'll hook them.
Yeah, what the hell? Okay, wait, hold on. Yeah, they had her as the 100th. I have the 1999 list here. Serena Williams was 112th.
Times changed.
Abby Wambach, 118th.
Love-hate relationship with Abby Wambach. Can't talk about it.
Okay, well, what about Jackie Joyner Kersey?
Love her.
Number 1 athlete, female athlete of the millennium of, was it decade? No, it was century of the century.
Ever.
No, of the century. All the athletes from the 1800s didn't even get to compete.
Eliminated.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Conclusion. When the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, also known as the AAGPBL, was unable to continue in 1955, its history and the significance were, for a time, largely forgotten to the public. A quarter of a century later, in 1980, former pitcher June Pepys, that is a great name.
Yeah.
Launched a newsletter project to get in touch with friends, teammates, and opponents that resulted in the league's first reunion in Chicago, Illinois in 1982. Imagine that, man, like being in the 80s and having these memories of these games and people don't even really remember that it's a thing.
Yeah.
You definitely, like, that would be so, that first meetup, and we're talking 30 years after the fact, to relive the glory years. I'm jealous that I'm experiencing that through the thought of them experiencing it, and I'm having a great time. Like, just all getting together. You remember that one game? You remember that one game? All the memories? That's cool.
Special.
Good job by June Peppers. The Players Association was formed after a 1986 reunion held in Fort Wayne as part of Run, Jane, Run, a local women's bureau event. June Peppers was nominated president, and the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, also known as the AAGPBL, has a permanent display in Cooperstown, largely due to the Players Association's efforts. To this day, the AAGPBL Players Association is still active in the preservation and promotion of the history of this league, as well as the promotion and support of modern women's baseball. Cool. Due to their efforts, the league will forever live on in its history. And the stories of All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, also known as the AAGPBL, and Dorothy Kamencheck will inspire years to come. Endeth the tale.
So I've got a couple things.
Yes.
A, now that we've been calling her Cammy,
Yeah.
I don't feel like we can call her Cammy. I feel like that's a teammates thing.
Oh, okay.
I feel bad about it. Yeah, I think we have to give a little. I think it's Dorothy Kamencheck, Miss Kamencheck. I think Cammy should be left to her team. The reunion's pretty sweet, and yeah, I mean 100. I'm not happy with that. That's gonna leave a sour taste in my mouth for a little bit.
You're not happy about the 100th athletes of the decade? That
Correct.
Bonnie Blair came in 7th? Century, yeah. I mean, it's tough because she was the best baseball player to ever do it. So, like, the top of her game. So, are we really going to let Lisa Anderson, the surfer, I guess?
You're going to defame Lisa Anderson on my podcast?
I chose a random. I was trying to find, like, okay, all right, not Lisa. We have Margot Oberg, also a female surfer from the 20th century. Second best female surfer is a better athlete than the best baseball player of the century?
Yeah, I mean, you got me. I'm hooked.
Well, guess what? Dorothy Kamencheck is right behind Margot Oberg. So it was a close decision.
It was close. It was tight. There was some heated debates over it.
Should we get in touch with this 1999 author? What a tall task. This is why lists are such bullshit.
No, it's tough.
What a tall task. I mean, we got a horse racer in here. Is this a horse? If this is just a female horse, I'm going to lose it.
Oh, no.
I'm going to lose it.
And you're a horse stan.
Yeah, it's just a horse, Jake. They got a female. They got a filly at 53.
That's brutal.
What? Top 100 female athletes. We got a horse. It's 53. Come on.
It's brutal.
You can't do that. What a fun list to look at. Yeah, a lot of tennis, a lot of golf. Anything else you want to know? You know what I really dislike? How much they change the rules every year.
You do or don't?
I don't like it. You're just messing with different skill sets.
They progressed more and more to baseball, but they tried something different.
Every year they change the rules. The rules committee was just a bunch of bored old men.
Yeah, I'd be interested in who was deciding those rules if it was typical guys being dudes and making decisions for women, and how those conversations went. I don't know. I mean, they were trying something new, so they tried to make it different, and then they casually drifted back towards baseball.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's very cool that women were given this opportunity. It didn't last, but the sexism that came with it sucks.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, it did give these female athletes a place to shine, even though there was some shitty, you got to wear this, you can't do that, along with it. But
well, no, it's good. I mean, you and I were both impressed that they were getting paid. I mean, these women were getting paid the same amount as minor league baseball players get paid nowadays. If not a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, a lot more than minor leaguers nowadays. They get $500 a month.
Well, in 1940s money, the same.
Yeah. Well, no, because the girls then in today's money got $2,800 a month.
Right. I'm not doing today's money. I'm doing actual 1940s money.
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah. Crazy. All right. That ends this one. We'll be back next Tuesday with another, and I think finale of the baseball season. I think. Don't hold me to it.
Whoa.
But I believe there's only one more after this one. Appreciate you guys listening. If you've been enjoying this season, leave a review. 5-star review would help us out.
For the new year.
For the new year. Start the new year off right. A lot of people keep finding this podcast through the other things that we do, and they enjoy the full back catalog and all that. And usually when people check out a show, they look at the reviews and the ratings. So go help us out. We appreciate it.
Put where you think Dorothy Kamencheck should be on the top women athletes of all time.
Yeah, maybe just a hashtag get Cammy to top 10. We'll work on the hashtag. You guys
work on the hashtag.
You guys work on it in the review section of the show on the podcast app. Thanks. See ya.